As you settle into a comfortable position, let your body soften into the surface beneath you, with the shoulders loosening, jaw unclenching, and breath falling into a slow, steady rhythm that feels safe and unhurried. As though the world has gently dimmed its lights for you alone, and you have permission to rest without concern, without schedule, without effort. Only the soft unfolding of a night meant for ease, with the warmth surrounding you like a favorite blanket, and quiet surrounding you like a trusted friend. And as the day drifts away, we move together toward a place of calm imagination, where stillness is welcome and the air is cool and clear. And here the focus turns toward a simple setting, a quiet autumn forest where time slows down, where leaves gather in amber and gold, and the ground is cushioned by soft layers, where sunlight fades into gentle tones, and shadows lengthen like peaceful companions. In this forest is not for movement or achievement, but simply for noticing, for lingering, for resting in the way each branch holds its leaves, and each leaf rests upon another. And you are safe here, wrapped in the hush of the night, with no need to do more than breathe slowly and listen inward, knowing that everything around you is steady and calm. And as you imagine the forest with its still pathways and patient trees, let your own pace soften in the same way, so that every breath you take becomes a small, reassuring pause, guiding you gently toward sleep, reminding you that everything is steady tonight. Now that your body has begun to loosen and your breath has found an easy rhythm, we can begin to wander more fully into the image of this autumn forest, a place where the season has softened the air and dressed every tree in warm, fading colors, a place where the ground carries the quiet hush of fallen leaves, and each sound is muffled, gentle, almost like the softened edges of a dream. And in this slow setting, there is no sense of hurry, no need for time to move in its usual way, because here the hours expand and stretch, as though the day itself understands that rest is welcome. And you can picture the light filtering down in golden shafts that bend and linger, reaching the forest floor with kindness, resting on bark, touching the edges of moss, glimmering faintly before drifting away. And the leaves above you are in constant slow motion, swaying with a breeze so subtle it feels like the air itself is exhaling, each leaf turning, tilting, drifting with a patience that invites your own breath to follow. And in this patient rhythm, the forest holds you, the way tall trees hold the sky, with no demand, no burden, only the reassurance of quiet company. And as you listen inward, perhaps you notice the details, the crunch beneath your imagined steps, softened by layers of gold and russet, the way each fallen leaf carries the shape of its branch, the way each branch holds the story of a season, and all of it is steady, simple, calm, as though even the passing of time has been slowed to a pace that feels safe, unpressured, almost like listening to a gentle melody stretched across the night. And here in this forest, you are allowed to settle, to notice the still pools of shadow where light pauses, to notice the way the air smells of wood and cool earth, to notice the way silence itself becomes a companion, not empty, but kind. And the forest invites you to linger, with no destination to reach, no conclusion to draw, only the sense of being carried in a season that asks for nothing more than quiet attention. And everything in this space feels like it has been arranged to help the mind soften and the body rest, from the canopy above to the paths below, from the light that drifts across bark to the breeze that carries the faintest rustle. And in the stillness, you may feel that time itself is like a long, slow breath, stretching outward, folding inward, reminding you that everything is steady tonight. And as this image grows more familiar, you may notice how repetition itself is soothing, how each leaf resembles another, how each shadow carries the same softness, how each sound of the breeze is alike and yet new, weaving a pattern that asks nothing of you but to listen and to rest. And within this repeating calm, the forest continues to offer comfort, a place where the rhythm of nature aligns with your own quiet rhythm, a place where every step, every glance, every breath leads only to more stillness. And so the hours lengthen, the moments soften, and the forest becomes both an image and a feeling, steady and calm, until even the idea of time fades, leaving only the ease of being present, safe, unhurried, and ready to drift toward sleep. In this quiet forest where autumn has painted every surface with calm colors, we move slowly through cycles of noticing and resting, allowing the same gentle ideas to return again and again like steady waves of comfort, each time softening a little more, and each time reminding you that here, surrounded by trees and leaves, you are safe to linger, safe to pause, safe to let the mind wander without direction. Because this forest is not a place of urgency, but a place of rhythm, of breath, of slow unfolding moments that gather like the fallen leaves, overlapping, cushioning, holding you in their patience. And as you imagine yourself beneath the canopy, perhaps you notice a tree standing tall, its branches reaching outward with ease, each leaf moving in its own small circle, shimmering as light passes through. And you may picture how that light bends, how it rests for a moment on the bark, how it softens across the forest floor, and in that small picture, you feel the quiet repetition of nature, the way it offers steady patterns, unchanging yet ever gentle. And you can return to this picture as many times as you like, always finding the same calm, always finding the same ease, because everything is steady tonight. And within this steady rhythm, you may notice the air itself, cool and crisp, carrying with it the faint scent of earth and wood, a scent that settles the senses, reminding you that even the air can feel safe, that even the breeze can move at a pace meant for rest. And as the breeze passes, you may hear the soft rustle it brings, not sharp, not loud, but more like the whisper of fabric, the sound of something familiar and kind. And that sound repeats with every shift of the air, until it becomes like a lullaby, circling gently in the background of your thoughts, guiding you further inward, guiding you deeper into stillness. And again, the trees stand around you, patient and unmoving, their trunks solid, their roots deep, their branches lifted, each one a symbol of endurance without strain, of growth without hurry, of life unfolding at a pace that feels timeless. And when you think of these trees, you may feel that you, too, are rooted. You, too, are steady. You, too, are allowed to remain without moving forward, simply resting in place, breathing with ease, noticing without needing. And each return to this image is another layer of calm, another reminder that the forest holds you without effort, that the forest continues whether you notice or not. And yet each time you notice, you are given the gift of stillness. And so you move in cycles, from leaf to light to air to sound to roots, then back again, each one familiar, each one soft. And with every cycle, your breath may deepen, your shoulders may loosen further, your jaw may rest more gently, as though the forest is teaching your body the art of patience, the art of slowing, the art of simply being. And you may imagine the way the light changes across the day, though here in this slow forest it hardly matters, because time itself seems to fold, stretching long, never rushing, never demanding. And so you picture morning light, then evening light, then moonlight, each one carrying the same calm weight, each one laying across the forest floor like a soft blanket. And you may rest in whichever light feels kindest to you, knowing that all are steady, all are safe, all are here to guide you deeper into quiet. And again, the refrain returns, steady and simple, reminding you that everything is steady tonight. And with each reminder, the forest itself seems to lean closer, as though agreeing with your breath, agreeing with your stillness, offering you the same gentle rhythm again and again. And you may find comfort in how predictable it is, how there is no change that startles, no sound that intrudes, only the repeating pattern of soft rustle, soft light, soft breath, until the rhythm itself carries you, until the repetition becomes the path, until the path becomes only rest. And so we continue, cycle after cycle, leaf to air, to light, to shadow, each one bringing you further inward, each one reminding you that this place is unhurried, that this place is calm, that this place is here for you to settle, to soften, to drift. And in this way, the autumn forest, where time slows down, becomes both an image and a rhythm, both a setting and a lullaby, both a picture and a breath, repeating until the body forgets its weight, repeating until the mind lets go of shape, repeating until all that remains is quiet, safe, steady, tonight and always. And again, we return to the simple truth: everything is steady tonight. As the forest continues to hold its steady rhythm, we can allow the picture to expand gently, layering more details without hurry, turning often to the same soft images so they feel familiar, like pages in a favorite book turned slowly again and again. And here in the autumn stillness, light filters through branches in shifting patterns, resting on the trunks of tall trees, bending across the ground, touching leaves that lie one over another, and each detail is unhurried, each one softened by time that has chosen to move gently, not forward in a rush, but outward in calm circles. And within those circles, you may find the quiet presence of sounds, the distant murmur of a brook far away, the faint tapping of a leaf against another, the long pause of silence that follows. And all of these small pieces form a whole that feels like a blanket spread wide, offering comfort simply by existing. And when you notice the brook, you may imagine how its water moves with patience, curling around stones, smoothing them over seasons, shaping without effort. And this image reminds us that even movement can be restful when it flows without urgency, that even change can be steady when guided by the gentlest rhythm. And you may pair this thought with your own breathing as the air passes slowly in and out, smoothing the edges of your day, softening the corners of your thoughts, and reminding you that in this moment you are carried, not required to carry. You are held, not asked to hold. And everything is steady tonight. And as the trees remain upright and unbothered, you may picture how their roots sink deeply into the earth, stretching into soil that is cool and dark, reaching outward, not in haste, but with patience, taking their place quietly, firmly. And in that image, you too may feel more grounded, more supported, more at ease, knowing that even beneath the surface, there is calm structure, quiet balance, steady presence. And as the forest deepens around you, shadows lengthen in gentle layers, forming pools of stillness where time seems to pause, where air gathers without movement, where silence becomes almost tangible. And these shadowed spaces feel not empty, but restful. It's like alcoves of the mind where nothing is asked of you, nothing is demanded, only the allowance to be, to breathe, to rest. And when you linger there, you may notice how repetition carries you further inward, how each return to light, shadow, breeze, and leaf feels softer than the last, how each cycle repeats without strain, building not toward an ending, but toward ease, toward the release of effort. And again, as the words settle, the refrain arises to guide you. Everything is steady tonight. And this simple reminder, given gently and often, becomes like the steady beat of a heart. Consistent, calming, predictable, and you may carry it with you through the cycles, each time finding it unchanged, each time finding it reliable, like the rhythm of steps along a soft forest path, rhythm that continues no matter how slowly you move. And perhaps now the path itself appears in your mind, a soft trail lined with moss and pine needles, edges blurred by fallen leaves, its direction unimportant, 'cause every part of it feels the same, unhurried, patient, calm. And so the path becomes less about where it leads and more about how it feels beneath the imagination. And each step is cushioned, each step is quiet, each step is steady, until the act of walking itself becomes a lull, until the act of noticing itself becomes a rest. And as this long path continues, you may return again to the forest canopy, high above, where branches stretch and leaves glow with amber light, shifting gently in the breeze, always repeating, always familiar, and that image lingers, offering the same calm each time, the same comfort, the same softness, and everything is steady tonight, steady as the breath, steady as the trees, steady as the repeating patterns that hold you in their patience, guiding you deeper into rest, without effort, without change, only with quiet companionship. As the night deepens and the forest continues its calm embrace, we return once more to the same gentle rhythm, knowing that the body finds rest not in newness, but in repetition, in hearing and seeing the same soft pictures again and again until they blur into one. And so you may imagine yourself lying back against the forest floor, supported by leaves that have gathered like cushions, their edges crisp yet gentle, their colors warm against the cool earth, and above you the canopy sways in its unhurried way, offering shifting patterns of light and shadow that seem to move at the same pace as your breath. And in this picture, there is no need for progress, only the comfort of staying, of lingering, of being held by the setting itself. And perhaps you notice the way the evening air cools around you, not sharp, not startling, but tender and balanced, carrying the faint scent of pine, of oak, of soil that has rested through many seasons. And each breath of this air feels like a reminder of time's softness here, how it stretches, how it bends, how it refuses to hurry. And when you let this thought settle, you may hear the quiet murmur of branches brushing, leaves touching, the smallest movements forming a pattern so steady it becomes background, like the quiet turning of pages, like the faint hum of a lamp in the corner, present but never distracting, constant but never demanding. And this constancy is its own form of comfort, its own promise that nothing needs to change tonight, that you are allowed to drift in place, and everything is steady tonight. And as you rest deeper into the forest, perhaps you picture the moon rising, casting silver across the leaves, softening the colors into shades of pale light, laying across bark, across moss, across the folds of earth. And with this light comes another form of quiet, one that deepens shadows, one that lengthens pauses, one that makes every sound feel hushed, as though the world itself has lowered its voice. And in this lowered voice, you may find calm, the way whispers can soothe, the way quiet tones can cradle the edges of thought, until the mind itself grows quieter, slower, gentler. And once again, the refrain reminds you, everything is steady tonight, steady as the moonlight, steady as the trees, steady as your own breath, moving without effort, resting without need. And as this reminder repeats, it feels less like words and more like a rhythm, a soft beat in the background of the night, guiding you through each cycle, guiding you deeper into rest, until the forest and the body and the breath are all one quiet presence. And here at the close, there is no urgency, only ease, no weight, only lightness, no demand, only permission. And so the forest becomes less an image and more a feeling, a steady, endless calm that surrounds you. And as your breath softens into its slowest rhythm, you may let the forest fade, carrying only the quiet truth that all is still, all is safe, all is steady, and everything is steady tonight. So now, rest, drift, and good night.